Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Mr. DB333, and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4. 1,000 a week Reich as South Africa. Now, last time we were here, we went ahead, turned back time a little bit, and put the Liberals wing, the Liberal wing of the United Party in power, led by this bloke, Henry Lawrence, senior party member, and having served in the cabinet of late Prime Minister Jan Smuts, Harry Lawrence is both a prestigious and committed member of the United Party's Liberal faction. Due to this unique advantage, Lawrence is often treated as the unspoken leader of the party's Liberals, having incredible influence on pushing forward the party's more liberal agendas. Now, as PM, he's expected to lead the charge in transforming South Africa into a modern liberal nation. There we go. Oh, they did join the TA. Interesting. You don't always see that. Well, this means we might go ahead and see them get Greenland back. Which ought to be nifty to see. Sierra Leone wants to join. Why not? Tropic War intervening in Russia. Interesting. Look at that. Sierra Leone has joined the UN. I had a professor at my college who I took foreign relations under, and he was from Sierra Leone. He had a crazy life. If anyone ever makes a movie about this guy, it's going to be incredible. It's also probably going to be heartbreaking. Born in Sierra Leone, he fled, I think, he left there right before the Sierra Leonese Civil War. And he told the class, I feel like I've done these before. I've read this one at least. At least I've read this one. Yeah. He fled right before the Sierra Leone Civil War, which, if you don't know about, it's horrible. But it sounds horrible, because I don't know that much about it either. But, he told us about this practice. I think it was called T-shirting, where militia members would go up to you and they would ask, short or long sleeves, and depending on how you'd answer, they would cut your arm off to where you'd be wearing what a long sleeve shirt would be, so your hand a little bit extra, or a t-shirt, so basically almost up to the shoulder. And he ended up fleeing, ended up being an ambassador in the Soviet Union. Like, he studied in Kiev. He told us how he drunk with Mikhail Gorbachev. And then he also was able to meet the Queen of England. Now, the semester he told us was the semester that both of those people died. So I'd made a joke like, well, hope he didn't meet Jimmy Carter. Evidently, Jimmy Carter avoided the touch of death for a while longer. At least in that instance. So, yeah. Is France... France is just neutral, okay. American military assistance. Thank you, America. That's very much appreciated. Just out of curiosity, are the... Okay, so they have those two islands. Okay, they're literally just stuck here. Which, I mean, it sucks to suck. But, I mean, we won that conflict in our Let's Play a while back. It wasn't too easy, so I don't want to give him too much crap. But, I mean, I think I had to outright restart once or twice. Or reload the saves. But I think I got it like the second time around. The Dutch are back. Look at that. Hoopaland, hoopaland, hoopaland. What do we want to get working towards? Let's do some excavation. The World Food Program. That sounds good. And just. Look at that. They got it back. That's nice. So much for the 51st state. What do we want to get working on now? So we could do modern research of medical science. Let's do that. Poland really can't catch up. Oh god, it's fucking Bandera too. They really can't get a break. My god. Huh. Well, in the meanwhile, let's work on meeting with the ANC. The ANC has long pushed for greater rights for black and colored South Africans and against the various systems of racial inequality that exist within the country. Well, somewhat controversial for their perceived radicalism, they are a movement growing in strength. If we're to credibly run the country and carry out a reformist agenda, we must meet with the ANC and hopefully give the impression that we have heard and are acting on their concerns. Path will allow. There goes the Republic of Kush. That's not very dank. Oh, here, where are we doing here? Okay. So we can promote regional autonomy. Part reform plans to promote regional autonomy in Southwest Africa in order to prepare the territory for democratic rule. That works. So, how are y'all doing out there? It's been a while since I sat down. I've been busy. I've been busy and not busy at the same time. It's that weird sort of middle ground where you could be doing more stuff, but you just aren't. Let's build up some infrastructure over here. Do some stuff in Transvaal. I think that makes sense. Now the way I explain it. But I don't know, just hanging out. Got a girlfriend recently. That's been fun. Been doing stuff with her. So that's sort of taken away some of my attention, but at the same time, I'm also waiting for my job to start back up, so I have time. I've had time within that period anyway. And I just haven't done anything with it YouTube-wise up until... Well, I've done a little bit past couple of weeks, but... Anyway. Today, representatives of the UP met with key leaders of the ANC in Bloemfontein after the government announced its plans for gradual reform towards majority rule. This meeting is no doubt controversial. Among much of white South African society, the ANC is seen as a force of left-wing African nationalist radicals, making the news largely for its disruptive protest or civil disobedience campaigns. The government's engagement with the group has been widely condemned by the National Party and its supporters, but in the view of the Prime Minister and many others, engaging with the African nationalist opposition is an essential move during this period of reform. As expected, despite both sides' open minds towards the broad issues of majority rule, many disagreements remained. ANC leaders emphasized the need for a rapid move towards majority rule and comprehensive economic justice, demands that were perceived by their UP counterparts as excessive, while the UP was frustrated by the ANC's perceived radicalism. Ultimately, however, progress was made. At a joint press conference, a set of limited immediate reforms and commitments to accelerate the move towards greater political representation for black and colored South Africans were agreed on, which both sides are relatively happy to sign off on. It is also hoped that this meeting, any sign of genuine openness to the African voice, will help to lower tensions and build unity in the country, and convince the diverse South African population that the government is genuinely committed to significant change. Peace. We do electoral reform plans. Let's do electoral reform. South Africa's democracy remains backwards and, on some level, fundamentally unjust. Various laws set racial quotas, essentially disenfranchising or reducing the political voice of non-white groups. This government will work to reform the electoral systems, looking into what changes can be made and preparing the groundwork for a transition to a more just political system. Meanwhile, we got a little less than a year to get... what do we got? Botswana. Yeah, sure. Botswana, you go ahead. Hop in. Is my boy leading him? There he is. What a man. That's Seretse Khama. That boy. Well, there goes the Civil War. Yeah, we can do a Laotian peacekeeping mission, why not? Yeah. Alaskan statehood, look at that. Interesting. Norway's just randomly occupying Bremen. That's funny. After consulting the ANC, the UP has devised a plan for limited electoral reform. Priority wants to repeal the Representative Natives Act 1936. This act placed blacks and whites on separate electoral rolls for native representation council across the nation. If it were to be repealed, the electoral roll issue would return to the provinces, and the door would be open for non-whites to vote in the Cape Province. However, full voting would still not be guaranteed. This would allow other provinces to maintain restrictions on voting rights for non-whites. So be it. We can do a Southwest Africa report. Interesting. General Assembly should be notified regarding proposal on handling the future of South Africa. Requested by the South African government, the proposal for handling the fate of Southwest Africa was submitted to the UN General Assembly for proper review. In addition, petitioners have also been granted the opportunity to speak on behalf of the territory in regards to this proposal. The UNG will vote on, to approve or disapprove South Africa's plans. Even though the recommendations made, the decision will be treated as non-binding. Let's talk with local militias. Oh, do we need to do that? We're doing okay. Let's do regional autonomy. Meanwhile, let's do some economic stuff. Let's do supporting SAR and H. Since its formation in 1910, the South African Railways and Harbours Administration has managed the railways, ports, and much of the road infrastructure in South Africa. If we are to develop a modern economy, build stronger economic links within the country and toward the wider world, we must comprehensively expand and upgrade all this infrastructure. SAR and H will be given a boost of funding and personnel and new powers to oversee the necessary expansions. We're going to transition to majority rule. Did it pass? I don't know if it passed or not. Oh, look at that. After a brief review of the South African proposal and the testimonies of relevant petitioners, the Southwest Africa resolution was formally approved by the General Assembly. According to the details of the plan, the U.S. mandate of Southwest Africa was formally granted to a South African supervision with the goal of organizing a plebiscite. In addition, the further name of territory was declared to be Namibia, upon considering petitioners' request. Good. Namibia, that's a good name. Polio vaccine. Wasn't it, didn't Trump talk about, like, Nambia? Like, say something about that, and people are like, dude, there's no country named Nambia. Was that a thing? Was that Zamibia? Some non-existent African country? I forget. But funny stuff. Man, that would have been, I think that I heard that in high school, so that would have been like 7 years ago. Maybe not that far back. Well, let's say 2017. 8 years ago. As many as 8 years ago that happened. Holy shit, I'm old. Oh my fucking god. This isn't funny. Let's work in Sassel synthetic oil. While South Africa lacks significant oil reserves enough to supply it, we do have a wealth of coal in recent wartime experience, and nations around the world have found that the processes to turn coal into a substitute for oil and gas are feasible if expensive. We should begin experimentation within our country to test the feasibility of turning coal into synthetic petroleum. It's a possible path towards emergency or energy independence in the case of an emergency. Well, there we go. No. I feel like that's not something that the UN would go for. Well, I voted no on that, not abstain. Does Belgium even have a... No, they don't have a focus tree. I don't think Congo does either. Oh, well, alright. I think we got some real stuff going. Look at that. Overland railways form key transport corridors for the industrialized economy, and as we seek to develop South Africa to really enter the modern age, must improve our railway system to keep up with the needs of population. Funding has been allocated, and a round of rail improvements, particularly involving modernization and electrification, can now get underway. Let's do the Cape to Windhoek coastal line. As we seek to build strong connections between West Africa and the core of the country, it's worth building a direct line between Cape Town and the city of Windhoek, which does not rely on traveling through British-controlled territory. This should tie the region closer into the South African economy and strengthen our control over it should we decide to keep it. There we go. Let's modernize the relatively undeveloped rail line along the southern coast from Cape Town to Port Elizabeth. Let's do it. And the Cape Main Line, connecting Cape Town with the interior South Africa, is perhaps our most key railway. So to modernize the system as a whole, we should upgrade the stretch from Cape Town to Kimberley, electrifying this line completely and bringing it up to modern standards. There we go. We'll hold off on the rest for now. Did Hungary make a comeback? I wasn't even paying it that much attention. Yep, there goes Romania. And the Kingdom of Romania is doing very well. Guess we'll wait to see what ends up happening there. Yeah, the monarchists won very quickly. Can't say I'm particularly surprised about. I want to wait until we get the plebiscite figured out before we continue with the rest of the South African adventures. We can do... Let's do migratory labor. For a long time, South Africa's economies relied on migratory labor, including both internal migration and from abroad across the region to fill its labor roles. The system of migration must be formalized and controlled to provide maximum benefit and efficiency to the economy. Well, down goes Germany. People's Germany seems to be doing remarkably well. Is it just me, or did France take back most of its land here? I think they did. Interesting. African socialism, okay. Oh. Didn't realize Iceland can leave. That is interesting. Unfortunate for the Yanks, but I say, look, I'm not a Yank. But what am I talking about? I'm a South African. I'll abstain. Alright, so I think, yeah, this plebiscite is about to kick off, so we can get working on this and kind of chain these events. Now that we have begun to move towards significant electoral reform, it's time for serious change to be made. We'll find a repeal of the Representation of Natives Act, moving to a universal system of one person, one vote, giving equal rights to voters of all racial backgrounds, and finally ensuring full electoral representation. Staying, I don't know what's going. Ceylon? What is Ceylon even doing? You know, I think they're gonna be fine, guys. I'm gonna keep it real with ya. I don't think they need our help. I think they got enough help as is, let me say that. Let's go ahead, let's get Iskor put in. Interesting. Okay. Following months of campaigning, the people of Southwest Africa headed for the polling stations to vote on the future of their territory. After polling stations closed, the countless processes under the watchful eye of plebiscite monitors set by the UN, thanks to a collective effort of the station's workers, it only took a handful of hours before results were relayed to the capital. Southwest Africa chose radicalism. Darn. Well, you know what? It's their choice. I'll respect it. Can I kill him? I want to kill him. Nah, well. On the plebiscite, the Republic of Namibia was finally declared a separate entity to South Africa. As expected by many of the leading separatist organizations, the Southwest Africa People's Organization also secured a supermajority in the first general election of the territory that was held alongside the plebiscite. These results mean that South Africa has effectively lost control over Southwest Africa, with their authorities after being forced to hand over control to a group that was previously hostile to the regime. What a shame. Nah. They made their choice. They made their bed. Now they get to sit in it. Lay in it. I could sit on it. I don't know the logistics behind the decision there, so I couldn't tell you. Maybe more compliance would have changed things. I don't know. And I don't feel like I'm gonna be able to figure that out anytime soon. I mean, I could hop on the Reddit, but I'm a little too lazy to do that right now. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and leave things there, though, my friend. So, thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you want to see more of this content in the future, hit the sub button. Check out uploads weekdays as well as occasionally Saturdays. Check out links down in the description below. Leave comments down in the comment section below. I read all the comments get. I do appreciate any feedback you might have for me. And yeah, I'm going to go and leave things there, my friends. Thanks always for watching. My name has been Mr. DB333. I thank you for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.